In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how I like to do my fringe. Hi, this is Katie, and welcome to the Nodding Perch, where I like to talk and share all things crochet. So you ready? Let's go. So I'm going to add fringe to my little mug rug that I got here. So let's see, since this is a small size, I'm going to pre-cut my strands to 3.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to grab my measuring tape, and I'm just going to put my beginning of my yarn right there at the end, and I'm going to measure 3.5. Now once I got that first strand, I'm going to use this as a template. So I'm just going to cut a bunch of strands, same size, 3.5 inches. Just keep on using one of the strands as your next template. Okay, so this should probably be enough to get me started. So first thing about the fringe is you got to know what side is the front and what side is the back. Maybe it's a personal preference, but when you look at the fringe, you see you have this nice little line here, and you flip it over and it's kind of like a V, maybe an inverted V. This part, I use this on the back. So that's going to be on the back of my work, the wrong side of the work. So I want to make sure that this nice, pretty, straight edge part of the fringe is on my right side of the work, the pretty side. So I do that by making sure I have the right side facing up. This is the front side of my work. I take a hook, not too big, not too small. This one's an H hook, and I just fit it through the first stitch that I want to put a fringe on. So I go from the wrong side through out into the right side. So from back to front. I take my fringe, and on these I like to use 3 strands per fringe, and just line it up, make sure that they are all even. And then I'm going to lay it across my hook, and I'm going to try to find the middle of the strands the best that I can, so each side is even. All right, I'm just going to hold on to that while I pull my hook through that stitch. I still have a hold of the fringe. Pull the hook up a little bit so we have a nice loop right here, because what we're going to do is wrap this fringe around your hook, and then we're going to pull it through the loop. I use my fingers, as you can tell, kind of pinch it up a little bit so I can fit that right through there. Bring it out to the other side of the loop, and then that's it. Just give it a nice little tug, kind of even out the strands a little bit and even out the tension here at the base. Okay, so I'm going to skip this stitch, and I'm going to do it in the next stitch. You can do every stitch if you want, but on these I found that going every other is very nice and it's not bunchy. So let's do it again. I'm going to get my 3 strands. Make sure they are somewhat even. I already have my hook in. I insert from the back to the front. Lay my strands across the hook. Even them out. And pull that through the stitch. Stopping halfway. Sorry if these fringes are in the way. So we don't want to pull it all the way through. This is a good time to make sure that they're even. Little adjustments there. It is harder with the smaller strands. That's why I try not, these are 3.5. I try not to go less than 3 inches. And pull it through that loop. And give a nice little tug. Sometimes you do individual little strand tugs. Just like that. Now what you can also do is to make sure that these fringes do not slip and come undone. Sometimes I like to go over it with a little bit of fabric glue, and this is the Eileen's Okay to Wash It. And all I do is I just pull up the knot of the fringe a little bit, and I put a dollop of glue on that. Doesn't take much, but I make sure it goes across all the strands. And then I just very carefully pick up that knot and lay it back over the strands. Good thing about this glue too, it dries clear. And just give a little tug. So that way the glue is on all the strands and on the knot. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate it a couple more times for you. I always like to make sure I start in the corner when I'm doing my mats. All right, and that is how I like to do my fringe. Now, if you're already not subscribing, make sure you do so, because soon I am going to be putting up the tutorial for this little mug rug or mug mat, whatever you want to call it. Any questions, leave them in the comments. I will see you on my next tutorial. So happy crocheting!